What up? What up? What up? It's your boy Tune 202, man. About to talk about these. About to talk about these sports teams. Talk about these Patriots. You guys might want to talk some sports a little bit. No? Nobody wants to talk? All right. Yeah, man, the Patriots. All right, so here's what I think is going to happen. The Patriots. Here's what I think is going to happen with the Patriots. I think the Patriots are going to win the Super Bowl. I do. And I know it's disgusting, but I think they're going to win this year. I think the Patriots are going to win this year. And I think they're going to win next year. That's it. That's what I think. Like my fro? Hey. That's what I think. I think the Patriots are going to win this year. And I think they're going to win next year. And then I think that's going to be it. The whole dynasty is going to be over with. Tom Brady's going to retire. I think Belichick knew that. Belichick knew that. He knew that. He's like, what am I going to do? You know what? Belichick might leave. Belichick might leave the Patriots in 2 years. You know what? I tell you who. All right, here's who I'm hoping goes. All right, let's just. Okay, let's just count. Thanks, bro. Let's just look at what has transpired. Let's just look at what has transpired. You had who? What? 10-2. 10-2. Kansas City just lost Kareem Hunt. Yeah, he's gone. The Rams are on a tear right now. So it looks like the Rams. Now, I wanted to say the Saints. That's who I wanted to say. The Saints just lost. They just lost last week. But still, I want to say the Saints. I feel the Saints, man. I'm not giving up on that. But Todd Gurley, see, I want to say the Saints, but Todd Gurley. Just like I want to say Pittsburgh, but Tom Brady. That's how it is. It's like the Saints, but Todd Gurley. You just can't. You can't go, oh, the Saints, that's it. You got to go with Todd Gurley. That's it. You just got to go Todd Gurley, though. And once you do that, you're going to go, oh, yeah, Todd Gurley. Even though he's a little banged up, you're still going to go, yeah, but Todd Gurley. Dude, it just come out of nowhere. You wanted to look at the Vikings? Not so much. Not so much. So I'm going with, it's going to be the Rams. We know it's going to be the Rams. We just know. And I feel sorry for my boy Drew Brees, but we know that it's going to be the Rams. We know it's going to be the Rams. We know it's going to be the Rams. You know what I'm saying? We already know it. We know it's going to be the Rams. We don't necessarily, we don't hate on the Rams. You don't hate on the Rams. You're like, who they got? Who's in the backfield? Who they got throwing the ball? You don't hate on the Rams, but you're going to go, but you love Todd Gurley. You do. How can you not love Todd Gurley? He's just super dope, man. Todd Gurley's just a great guy. Did you see what he did last week? Did you see what he did to the Lions? He had the ball, broke out, was running, went down to the goal line and would not cross the goal line. And he waited till the Lions caught up to him and tackled him on the one. He just like, I don't need the score. Yeah, that's what's going to happen. That's what's going to happen. That's exactly what's going to happen. It's going to be hard to forget about the Fires because of the devastation, but yeah. It wouldn't surprise me. I'm going to tell you something. It wouldn't surprise me if they actually won the Super Bowl. It just wouldn't. It just would not surprise me at all, broski. Those Fires were something else, man. One fire was started. Right, one fire was started by a gender reveal. It was started by a gender reveal. I don't really get gender reveals, but why can't you just go, it's a boy or it's a girl? No, we can't do that. We got to do all this extra. We got to do extra for gender reveals now. I'm so confused about that. Direct energy weapons. Wouldn't surprise me. It's not hard to start a forest fire. It just isn't. You know, used to be this commercial that said only you can prevent forest fires because people would go and, smoke in the woods or forget to put out, that's where Smokey the Bear came from. People would forget to put out their campfires, and next thing you know, folks' homes is getting burnt down. Not so much now. Forest fires just popping up out of nowhere. Like, didn't we just put this out? 4,500 acres smoked. Houses burnt. People dead. Yo, true story. This man said he saw the fire coming, right? And he had a friend who was in a wheelchair, and they couldn't get him out on time. And I was like, dang. He said we couldn't get him. We just couldn't get him out on time. He said, I also went to this woman's house, and I told her, I said, you know, the fires are coming. She said, I have to put on my makeup. He was like, wait, what? This chick actually was putting on her makeup when the fires came to her house and burnt her. Killed her. And then he went back after all the damage was done, and he showed the people burnt to a crisp inside the cars. He's like, look, this guy, this was my buddy right here. You saw the wheelchair and everything. He's like, this was my friend right here. He's like, and these two people, they died. Here they go right here. And you just seen their bodies look like something straight out of a movie. Yep. He said that, and I was like, wait, what? She actually said, I have to put on my makeup. She put on her makeup and died. She got cooked. I was like, you gotta be kidding me. Unbelievable is right. And he went back and showed all these people who died. They all got surrounded by the fire, and they were all in their cars. They were in their cars and houses. They all got roasted. I was like, the dude who was in the wheelchair, it was like, that just sucks. But the girl whose vanity killed her, it's like, how do you explain that to God? You had to put on your makeup? Like, how do you explain that? Yeah, I had some eyeliner that I just got from Macy's. Nah, bro. And he left her. That dude left her, man. When she said that, he left her. He booked it out of there. He's like, I left. He beat feet up out of there, man. And then he came back and showed the whole thing. And here's the thing. He was the only survivor. He was the only survivor. Everybody else he knew in that area died from the fire. This is a war zone. It was like somebody came through there with a torch and nobody was aware it was coming. But they were aware. And some people just couldn't get away. And other people just didn't get away. And I just, bro, I would have been running in. Forget makeup, bro. But anyways, so I think Bill Belichick, when Tom Brady leaves, I think Bill Belichick is going to leave with him. I do. I think Belichick is going to be like, well, it was fun. I do. Belichick is going to be like, it was fun. Vanity. It's LA. It's LA, bro. It was all vanity. It was 100% vanity. And the way he said it, let me see if I can pull it up. Let me see if I can pull it up. Let's see if I can find it, bro. Because it was, shoot. See if I can find it. The guy's narration was so sad and so absolute. 9 dead California fires. Let me see. This might be it right here. 9 dead. Yeah. This might
Look at
be
this incredible video just into the newsroom from Oak Park, California. Houses gutted, embers covering every surface as the Woolsey fire expands to more than 8,000 acres. Over 75,000 homes are under evacuation orders, but that number is expected to grow and grow very fast. Jane Wells is in the thick of it in Thousand Oaks, California.
Oh, this is not. This is the fire, but this is not.
Newsline. Jane, how much more can Thousand Oaks endure this week?
Tyler, I've lived here 30 years. It has been a very difficult 36 hours. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if loved ones who lost, those families who lost loved ones in Borderline are now evacuated because of these two fires. Not just the Woolsey fire, which is now over 10,000 acres and growing and moving towards the ocean. There was a hill fire, which I'm in my backyard actually right now. The hill fire started last night. About a half mile from me by where how the crow flies. It's now at 6,000 acres, also burning to the ocean. That's what happened.
Shoot. As the crow flies. That's a term I haven't heard in a long time. Oh, dude, it'd take me a minute to find it. It's like, but this guy's narration was so. Give me one more minute. It was so heartbreaking to listen to this man try to explain away these fires. Let me see if you made a comment. Dear Lord, I needed to use. Oh, right. Because I wanted to look out. Right. Yeah, I wanted to look great before I stepped out and, into a burn, like a like, what could go wrong? Let me see if I can find it on YouTube. Paradise Lost, incinerated by California fires, deadliest fires. They have different people talking about it, but the one where this guy was talking, it was just I was like you. I was like you, bro. I was like, I was dumbfounded. Like it was actually something really out of a movie. It really was, bro. It was something really out of a movie. Yes, she did. She gone, bro. That fire laid her out, man. Of course, the smoke takes you first. It isn't the fire that kills you, it's the smoke. That's why smoke inhalation is so deadly. Smoke inhalation is a blessing, too. Because if you're sitting there burning, you know, smoke inhalation is mercy, is what it is. It's like, okay, you're not getting away. This smoke is going to suffocate you, and then your whole body's going to be, on fire. But you're going to be long gone before you even feel it. It's just like, oh, okay. I mean, that's not what you want, but it's like, right. I could care less, bro. I'm trying to break up out this. I'm trying to break up out of here. I'm looking like I just put my a battery in my smoke alarm downstairs. I had it out for a couple days. I was like, let me quit tripping. This battery could save my life. I went to the store and got me one of them batteries. I ain't playing. Like, let me make sure this thing is by the kitchen too. Like, let me make sure this joker is A-okay. Because if anything pops off in this kitchen I ain't supposed to, wake my ass up. Because if I got to throw something through one of these windows just to get out of it, I am cracking the hell out of one of these windows, bro. I'm going to break one of these windows. Right. I'm jumping out of one of these windows quick. Like, let me tell you how real it is over here. I had neighbors that I had to call the fire department on because what they did was they did this twice. In a one time I was able to wake them up, but what they did was they left something on the stove and went to bed, and their alarm is going off. The one by the kitchen. So they live like right there. Their alarm's going off, beep, beep, and I'm listening to it, and I can smell the smoke. First I heard it, and I was just like, okay, that's not my alarm. I went down, went to my basement, like, okay, that's their joint. Then I start smelling the smoke, and I'm just like, so I'm sniffing around like, I was like, okay, well, let me go, bang on their door. I don't get no answer. Blah, 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 blah. Bam, bam, no answer. I was like, yo, there's smoke over here. I don't know what the deal is. Police showed up. Fire engine showed up. Finally was able to get these people up out of bed because their kitchen was about to go up in flames. I was like, let me get some homeowners insurance up in this piece. It happened twice. They just left something on the stove and and was like, yeah, we're going to bed. They did it twice, bro. I'm like, nah, bro. How about y'all not do that? How about y'all not do that right there? Not that. You can go to bed, but don't leave something on the stove and then you go to bed. I was like, nah. So, yeah. Hop right out this joint. Grab me a wet blanket. What are you doing? Throw it in the tub. Roll my head. Try to get up out of here. It's not that easy, but still. I was in fires when I was young, like real young, like 2. I was in a couple of them. My brother kept burning our houses down because he was cooking. He would light the house on fire trying to cook. My mom would come in, snatch us, house would be on fire, whole house. Everything we had gone. You know what I'm saying? It was like that. We was hungry. She was out on the porch or something, or he's like, shoot, I'm gonna get on up in here and get me some of these grits. Man just wanted to cook. He really just wanted to cook. Start cooking, grease fire. Don't take much for a grease fire. Mama come back in the house, damn thing's on fire, grabs all of us. Yeah, heads out the door with us. She's real in the field. She wasn't even mad. She was just like, what happened? Grease fire. Brother wanted to cook some chicken. You know what I'm saying? Fried chicken, you know what I'm saying? He was hungry. So he started cooking fried chicken. Damn grease fire. Pop. That's it. Hit the paper towel. Back then you was using that Crisco. He's using that Crisco that came in the white. It came in the blue thing and it was solid white. Terrible for your heart. Throw some of that in there. Flour, salt, pepper, some chicken. Yeah. Yeah. That was the food. It's cheap. There's a lot of us. So you cook that chicken. That's how you got by. But if you got that fire too high, when that chicken hits that joint, you going to have, you know what I'm saying, Nagasaki up in your house. And that happened to us a couple times. We had to get up out of there. One time I wasn't there. I was older. I was in the Army. We had this really, really nice house up on this hill. We was renting it and we was gonna buy it. There were two families that lived there. We lived with some Libyans, some Middle Easterns. They couldn't speak the greatest English, but you know they spoke it enough. We liked them. It was cool. They used to teach us how to say "shut up," like "suckathoma," shut up, because we used to go around saying that to each other. You know what I'm saying? Shared our food with them. There was some cool people. I ain't got no issues with the Middle Easterns. They had a little thing on their head. The women would have their thing. You know, I wasn't attracted to any of them, but they were some cool folks. You know, they had their own little thing. They lived above us. We got along great. But I was gone shortly after that. I left. And boom. Had a little swing out in the yard, everything. And when they left, my mom was like, I'm thinking about buying this house. I was like, cool. Like, that'll be our house in the hood. It's a nice house. It's like, finally, we get our own house. They burnt it down. I don't know which family member did it, but I was like, Mom, what happened to the house? She's like, it burnt down. I was like, this is the fourth fire our family's been in. Like, we can't have nothing. Back to living in apartments in the hood. Landlord was cool. Landlord was like, yeah, you could buy it. This is back in the 80s, early 80s. Went up in smoke. That was it. What are you gonna do? Yeah, but I didn't understand Honey's logic either, but she paid for it. She paid for it with her life. I don't know what I'm doing with all this hair, but it's fun. Might twist it up again. Have me a little twisty fro. But yeah, so Tom Brady, everybody. Yeah, we're looking at the Rams taking the whole thing. You got 4 teams who are in contention. The Patriots. Chargers doing good too, but the Patriots, Kansas City, the Rams, and the Saints. Those are the big dogs. I wasn't sure. I never met him. My mom dealt with him. One of our landlords was black. When we lived in Wilkinsburg, my little sister told me he lived downstairs. I was long gone by then. I'm 10 years older than my one of my sisters. I was already in the military. My older brother was in the military. My older sister, she was living in another part of Pittsburgh. So those two, and then my older brother, he was gone too. So those two grew up with my mom. So he was a black guy. So my mom got along with him real cool. My sister seemed to like him. So I never heard anything, crazy about him. But I've had a few black landlords. So yeah, he wasn't an Edomite. He was from the River Niger. He was a Jew. Cool dude, I guess. I don't know. I didn't hear nothing about it because my life had already began, and I was actually living in another country then. So, yeah, man. The Jews. Yeah, I was living in another country. That's the wrong music. Try to listen to something else. Listen to something else. Yeah, man. Where you from, man? I got 100 clips. I'm from New York. Where you from, man? Next time. There it is. That's better. Boom, 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 boom. Boom, boom. My afro. Yeah. I got this booth right here. I got this little dent in my hair. I'm trying to pick it out, but I think I got a bald spot right here. Oh yeah, that's where I got hit by the police. That's why. But Twist it up again. So good. Start the tedious process of yeah. Where'd you say you was from, dude? Headbanger. Boom, 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 boom. Twist my hair back up. That's a tease. I got an interview tomorrow, but I'm not going. What up? How you doing? What up? Give me the truth. What's happening, man? We was just talking about Tom Brady going to the Super Bowl again. They took out Kareem Hunt, so he's done. Even though Kansas City can win without him. But I can't see Kansas City getting past the Saints. Just putting in the OT. Oh, okay. You getting that OT? Yeah, get that OT, bro. Yeah, get that OT. If they're giving it away, get it. I feel you. I can't work like I used to. I can't go out there and grab them hours like that no more. Shoot. Yeah, man. I gotta take muscle relaxers just to get by. Shoot. I go out there and try to do the work I used to, I'm gonna be in the hospital. Be all messed up. Can't do that no more. Gotta get that money, bro. That time and a half, right? Yeah, they long. Yeah, they long gone. What it do? Give me the truth. Yeah, those days long gone for me, bro. But you know what? I'm gonna tell you something. My hustle has changed though. Cause as soon as I get off of this, I'm on a restriction. I can't make for so much money because they're taking away all my loans, all my student loans. So for the next year and a half, I have to be, pretty much poverty stricken. Like literally, I can't make over the poverty line from my state. That's not a lot of money. But nonetheless, I'm like, all right, you going to forgive my loans, all of them? I do need a pizza, bro. And I thought about getting one yesterday. I got some leftovers downstairs, though, so I might just go ahead and get with that. But I do need a pizza, man. Shoot. I just found out that freaking I just found out that they had the deep dish pizzas down at their Pizza Hut. Hopefully they won't eat it right. Right. Yeah, just found out they got deep dish down. I'm like, y'all had deep dish down here. Chicago style. Love that stuff. But yeah, so I'm on the restrictions so they can forgive my loans. And I'm just like, all right, cool. So you can only make so much a year, or, a month, right? Or else, they'll hit you with all the student loans plus interest. So I'm like, oh, okay, it's whatever. I gotta live like this. So, now that I'm done with my degree, my hustle has changed. Like all the factory work that I used to do, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, those days are long gone, give me the truth. I don't do those. But see, now I don't really have to do them. Because now the jobs that I'm looking for, okay, so my qualifications changed because of my degree. So my degree is in health service administration. So that's quality control, that's health services, that's fraud. You know what I'm saying? It's such a wide field that I can apply for. That's management, front office, back office. It just covers so much. So my qualifications have changed. I could work for the Red Cross right now. I could work for the U.S. government, city, state. I could work for, police departments under fraud division, federal under fraud divisions. And healthcare fraud is a big thing. Or go at it alone. Once I figure out how to do that, just be a healthcare fraud agent of my own and get deputized by the government. Because, my situation changed for the better because, I couldn't do this. I couldn't apply for those jobs now and hopefully get them. Now I can apply for those jobs and be at least respected. Plus, I'm a veteran. And I'm a disabled veteran. So now when they look at me, they're going to go, this guy's a disabled veteran. There's a lot of veteran jobs out there when it comes to health, so they'll look at me before they'll look at someone who's not a veteran. Plus I have a degree, so my hustle's changed now. So once I get acclimated in this, like I'm not looking to go and work in a position for the next 10 years and just be there and get their little small increments of a raise. I'm not unless they start me off really nice. I put it to you like this. Some of the jobs I probably won't get because I don't have the experience. Like I've never worked in healthcare before. But some of the jobs that I've applied for and I know I could get start off in between 45 and 63. That's not bad. Now, some of the jobs that I've applied for, I know that I'm not going to get. But if I had just, 2 years experience, I probably could get. They start off at about 80, in between 80 and 126. So what I'm saying is, if I go and jump into, one of these jobs at the Red Cross, work in healthcare for a minute, or go and grab a state job, work there for 2 years in the administration field, or work for one of these hospitals, like that, like the potential for me to get a $30,000-$40,000 raise instantly is great. Just, jump right into a leadership position. Not sure that's what I'm going to do, but nonetheless, it's there after 2 years. It's not like, oh, every year we give you a, 30-cent raise. No, you give me a $30,000 raise. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, Red Cross is a big opportunity. I was just looking at some of the stuff that they had now. They have some analyst positions that are open. And being that I have a marketing background, I fit right in I fit right into that. You know what I'm saying? I fit right into that real easy because of my background and my degree. I just, boom, I can just slip right in there. So there are a lot of different entities that I could walk in the door and be strongly considered with the way my resume looks right now. I got an interview tomorrow. I probably won't go because I think it's a sales job. Another thing is all the positions start at ground level, and I'm not a ground level starter. Don't ground level me. I don't know. Maybe that's. I just got a lot of experience, so I noticed that a lot of the jobs are at the beginning. Plus, they're really not telling me about the job, and this just turns me off. When somebody calls me and says, "Hey, we want to talk to you about a job opportunity," I want to know exactly what you're doing before I come to the interview. And they're like, "Oh, our manager will tell you what we're doing when you get here." And I'm like, show me the description. Like, let me read it. You know what I'm saying? Let me read it. Let me get a, that way when I go into the interview, I can be like, yes, I've done this before. I've done this. Show you my resume. They're like, you don't even need to bring your resume. We already have it. I'm like, okay, that's cool, but I don't know what I'm applying for. And they said it's an account manager for something. And I'm like, I'm not doing any sales job. It sounds like a sales job. I'm like, I'm not doing a sales job. They're like, no, it's not sales. I'm like, it's sales. People say account manager, it's sales. You're cold calling, I'm not doing that. You know what I'm saying? I already know what it is. You're sitting there on the phone calling people and trying to pitch them something. No, I'm trying to be in a management position. And, I don't mind starting at middle management, or something like that. Doctor's office. I'll rock in a doctor's office. I done been there before. You know what I'm saying? Managing people, managing a certain department, working in a hospital, being the middle manager of some department. I'm cool with that. Send me the emails. I'll take the responsibilities. I'll set up the meetings. I already know the deal. I know how it goes. You know what I'm saying? It's just different faces. But I'm not trying to be at the beginning level of nothing. I'm not. Okay, I got bills to pay. I'm trying to see 50 and up. That's just where my head's at. I'm trying to see 50 and up, and I'm really not happy with 50. I'm not. Right. I'm trying where I would really be happy at. What would get me up and in traffic every day, and I would be like, what up, traffic? What's poppin'? Bum, bum. We up in this traffic today, bro. Was poppin' traffic. We up in here. Well, I would not even care around 70. 70, I will be up in traffic jamming. I will be up there singing some Lakeside or something, and the beat goes on. That's the Whispers. Just like our love everlasting. Ooh, I will be jamming in traffic. You put 70 on my plate. And I will be at work early every day. You hear me? I will be opening that door before the janitor. I'll be like, what up, Tom? What up, dog? You all right? Yeah. I know I'm an hour and a half early, but you good? Okay, big dog. Thank you for your help, sir. I appreciate you. All right, dog. All right, yeah. We get on in this office, turn this computer on, and get busy. Get all up in the computer. Start sending out emails at, 5:15 in the morning. Where does email come from? My office. Was Papa Melissa? You feel me? Melissa, what's popping? This email did not come from my house. It came from my office. All that. I'll be bringing coffee to my secretary. Hey, here you go, Mary. There you go. Love that dress. Love that dress. Love that dress. Love that dress. I ain't playing. You put 70 on my plate. You see a change, man. Because I'm going up from there. Shoot. I'm going up from there. I'm not going down. And I'm not leaving my apartment. I'm not going to be like, yeah, I'm going to go get a big crib. I'm not. I'm staying right here for like the next 5 years. Stacking. I'm trying to get all that cheese. I'm like my man working that devil. You working that devil? Man. I'm trying to get all that cheese. Put 70 on my plate. Heck, my neighbor makes 60. My neighbor be stacking. Just bought this woman a nice little used BMW. She ride nice. He be making that money. Work a lot of hours, but he make that money. That's what I'm talking about. I ain't got no woman either. Shoot. I will be up in that office doing the jig. Bro. Shoot. Let me buy a house. Yes, this house is $180,000. Oh, okay, word. So what is the taxes on it? Okay, this is the taxes. So let me see, 180,000 plus, what is it all together? How much is it if I needed to pay? Pow! There's your 180. Get on up out of here. You need to get on up out of here. All right, bank. All right, bank. Don't send me no letters, no nothing. Okay, bank. Okay, bye. I don't care about all that credit stuff. If you make payments, you can have no, because you're paying extra. How much is it? Down to the penny. 180,000, and 95 cents. That's it. I'm like, if I write a check for that, is it mine? Yeah, sure. Go cash this right now. Like, I'm not trying to. You feel me? I'm not trying to rock with the interest. I don't give a damn about your interest. I buy my cars straight out. If I roll up on a nice Infinity I like, how much you want for that Infinity? I'm buying it cash. I'm gonna just like, there you go. Here's the check. I'll wait till it clears. You can keep the car here. What's that? 60,000? I wouldn't even get it for 60,000. I'll wait till it depreciates a year. Give me a used one. How much is it now? 45? Give me another year. What is it now? 30, 34? I'll take it now. Come back. I'll come back when it clears. Mr. Powell, your check cleared. Damn right it did. Give me my truck. I ain't playing with none of y'all. Rolling nice. Yeah. I'll be, here you go. I'll write you a check. Because I know it takes a couple days for it to clear. I'll be like, just call me when it clears. You know what I'm saying? You keep the keys. You just give me the paperwork to show that it's mine and I paid for it. All right? As soon as they say it clears, I'll be like, I'll be right up there. Catch me an Uber on up to the car place. Boom, bam, beans and ham. I'm walking in the door just like that. Where's my Infinity, bro? All right. Like that tie. Jason, love that tie. Love that tie. Tell your wife to say hello. Great cookies. Right. Hear that V8 peeling off that lot. Banging my music. Bump. I ain't playing with nobody. I don't like payments because you don't own it. Nah, I want to own it. After that, man, I'm good. Pay my house off, pay my car off. After that, save my chicken. Save all my money. No, you can't move in with me. Nah, I don't want no girlfriend, no nothing. I don't want no nothing. Just be rocking up there, chilling, man. That's what I'm talking about. Shoot, pay my property tax ahead of time. You know what's really crazy? You know what's crazy? When you buy a house, the house is yours, but you still pay the property tax, right? If you miss out on the property tax, they come and take your house. Yeah, me, myself, and I, just like Beyonce said. You know what I'm saying? I'm not trying to hear nothing from the woman. Because women, they'll scope you out when you rolling nice. You know what I'm saying? They'll scope you out. I done had women do it already. I see you, I'll be like, yeah, okay. Back when I had my 2 trucks, it's like, yeah, I see you. I was like, okay. You know, I'm doing all right. You know what I'm saying? When you got a little change in your pocket, you clean. But see, I don't go to a lot of socials. So I don't really be looking for chicks. I don't want to be bothered. I don't really care. You know what I want to do? Travel, tell people about the Lord, go visit some places that I never thought I'd see. That's how I want to spend my time. Just, you know what I'm saying? Take a nice vacation and just go wherever. Go to China, Beijing. Want cafe? Hold on. Yeah, okay. Give me some wonton soup. What the fuck? All right. All right. I know you don't like me. That's what you're saying in your language. You don't like me. Okay, it's cool. It's all good. I know you don't like me. But I'm up in your city. Right? I know you don't like me. Ling Ling, I know you don't like me. But I'm up in your city today. Okay. Boom, Visa card. Get on up out of here with all that nonsense. Better take this Visa. Bow. Paid in full, man. I'm not trying to go on a couple cruises just to be going. Go to Alaska and look at the whales. Yeah, I'm trying to do all that. Bro. That's why I don't want no relationship. Oh, can you take me with? No, I'm not taking you nowhere. Take me when nah, a headache. And I got to deal with your attitude and your stupidity. No, I'm good. I don't want to deal with none of that. I want to deal with your crying and whining and acting a fool. I don't care about none of that. I have no energy for none of that. Not every woman does that, but a lot of them do, just to get on your nerves. They do. Just to piss you off. Make you wait on them. Like, I'm almost ready. I just gotta put on my... Hear my damn car warm up. I'm almost ready. It's been an hour. I'm almost ready. Yo, you better come on. Just give me another... Hello? You ain't right. Oh, I ain't got time. I tell a woman if we're going somewhere, I'll be like, I'll meet you there. Yeah, we go to the movies, I'll meet you there. Movie starts at right? Either you coming or you not. The movie starts at 7, I'll meet you there. Either you gonna come or you not. Because the movie's gonna start. I'm there. You know what I'm saying? I'll meet you there. It's a good thing to do. You're not going to come pick me. No, I'm not. Nothing wrong with your car. You can drive. I'll meet you there. You know what I'm saying? Some women are cool with that. I've met some low maintenance women, beautiful too. I just loved it. I love a low maintenance woman. But I already know I'm going to run into a lot of women trying to. I don't care about none of that. Well, don't you want to get married? No, I don't. Because I don't want to lose all my stuff. I don't want to have to pay for a house and then there's only one part of it that's mine and the rest of it belongs to you. Like, you paid for this. And then when you get upset, I get kicked out. You need to leave. No, you need to get the up out of my crib. If my name on the deed. No, I'm not. No, man. I'm not doing that. Nope. I put that sucker up for sale. Yeah, that's what I want to do, man. I want to go see some. The Earth is a big, beautiful place. I want to go and look around the planet. That's what I want to do, man. Go visit go to Madagascar. You know what I'm saying? Visit old. I want to go into visit the ruins in some Mexican ruins, but to look at the ziggurats and stuff. But you can't. Yeah, man. You know what I'm saying? But you can't really do that right now because Donald Trump is Donald Trumping. Donald Trump is Donald Trumping right now, so ain't nobody going Mexican nowhere. He Donald Trumping, so he holding it down. He telling folks, "Nah, you ain't coming over here. Where you thought you was going? What border? Oh, to America? Oh no, this ain't the West Side Story. You ain't coming to America. You don't look like Eddie Murphy to me. You ain't coming to America." I say let them in. They're illegals. What were you when you got here? Came over on a boat, killed all the people who owned the land and claimed it for yourself. Get the hell out of here, illegals. That's a whole army right there. That's a whole army of people. That's a whole army. You know how valuable those people can be? Shoot. Bring them in the country, make them all American. You're already watching everybody. If they do something wrong, send them home. But if they come over here and they start selling oranges on the side of the highway, I don't got no problem with that. You know what I'm saying? Open up a couple taco shops. You know what I'm saying? Start selling fajitas at a baseball game. I'm with all that. I like all that entrepreneurial action, even though I don't eat fajitas, but I will. Selling fajitas at a baseball game. You tell me there's something wrong with that? That's American as it gets. But let them people sell their fajitas. I'm just saying, man. Let them in. They ain't did nothing. And when they do something, when they do something, give them dogs. Understand? Homeland Security rolled up on them. Be like, hey, we gave you a chance. You rolled up in here. You know what I'm saying? Like you was going to come in here and work. You came in here, got drunk, and stole tires. You know what I'm saying? You came up here and brought a whole illegal organization with you and started hey, this just happened at a shoot, this just happened too. Let me see what this happened at. I mean, this just happened, bro. This is how real this is. And I know who did it as soon as I saw it. Thieves, they cut the electronics and stole tires from more than 30 Chevys at Jim Norton Chevrolet in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Who you think did that? Tulsa, Oklahoma, G? 30 vehicles, all sitting on blocks. You know who did that? You know who did that, bro. They took all their tires. I'm like, now see, those guys, you can ship those guys on up out of here. You can get them. I hope they find them. Because I would be so cheap. I mean, you ain't take one car's tires. You took 30 cars. 30 times 4, 120 tires. Brand new. 30 AR 70, whatever size they are. Shoot, I know if it was tires for, and look, they took them from Equinoxes, they took them from Impalas, they took them from Silverados, they took them from Tahoes. I'm like, listen, bro, let me tell you something. My tires on my truck, yeah. My tires on my truck cost let's see, for me to get new tires, all 4, shoot, will cost me around $300. No, more than that. Costs about $600. They're like $150 each. Let me look it up. Just to give you an idea of how much money they just got away with. This is just on one vehicle. One of my tires. Okay, they got some Cooper tires here. Oh my goodness. This Cooper tire for one is $200. This Cooper tire here is it's $300 for one. I'm just saying, I get the Dunlap, Goodyear. Okay, these Goodyear Wranglers is probably something I would get, but they have a black wall. I like the white wall. $157.99 for one. They stole 30 vehicles. Tires. 30. Came through. Bro, that's, I mean, come on, man. That's thousands and thousands. Actually, I bet that would retail, because if you're looking at $600 just for my tires, plus the tax, you're looking at 30 vehicles, you could probably say, the average vehicle probably costs around, I don't know, but they were all sitting on blocks. And I seen a car out here where I live at the Kroger's sitting on blocks. I was like, look, I used to have a car with rims on it. People was robbing that car all the time. I never even locked the door. They just kept robbing the car. Broad daylight. I'm looking right at them. I was snatching people out my car. I'm like, nah, man, they getting people. Like, they serious. Them tires cost money. They will take them tires off, put it on their car, and ride past your house the next day. Like, damn. What happened? happened to your what happened to your truck, big dog? Of course, that's where, things get really crazy, but it's happened. Yeah, it's happened. That's why I don't buy rims. I don't be buying those shiny rims, man. I learned my lesson a long time ago. Bro, you buy rims, it's on. People want that ass. They follow you home, you buy rims. You better have a garage, and even if you have a garage, they still coming for you. They'll just wait till you park out, you go out to eat or something. They'll be out in the parking lot getting you. You be in there with your girl, thinking you about to get it on tonight. Come outside, your stuff is on blocks. It's funny, but it's not. Yeah. This chick on YouTube, it happened to her. She's like, I came outside, my whole car was on blocks. Yeah. Yeah, it's like that. It's like that out here. Like out here, it's like that. I was like, damn, you went to the grocery store, homie. That car was on blocks at the grocery store. Wow! Can you imagine going to the grocery store broad daylight, come back out, and your car is on blocks, and ain't nobody seen nothing? You got to be like, you know what? I'm mad because y'all just cost me $700, but I ain't mad because y'all did this on some smooth. Y'all was on some smooth. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to break your face when I see you, but I'm still going to be like, that was dope, but I'm going to break your face when I catch you. You ain't going to catch them, though. They'll walk right past you. Dang! You be like, I know it was you. I just... Dang! What they do to your car? Dang, bro, they took all your tires, bro. What size was those? You know what I'm saying? Yeah, it's real in the field out here, man. But they took 30 cars worth of tires, bro. It's expensive. That's expensive. That's expensive. The thing about it is, all they're gonna do is, because there's a couple tire shops around here that sells used tires. Couple tire shops. You be wondering how used are those tires. You be like looking at them like, how used is this tire? Like where are you buying tires from? You know what I'm saying? But used to be owned by black people, not anymore. All Hispanic. Used to be all in the black neighborhood. Right. The essays is in our neighborhood taking our businesses. And don't really care if we support them. They don't care if black people come to their business. They don't give that one thing. They don't care. You boycott them, they won't say a thing. We're not coming to your business, man. Okay. The Asians live off of our business. But the essays, they care less. They are their own entity. They don't need us. The Jews, the Jewish, live off of us. The whites live off of us. The essays, They live off of each other. Period, point blank. They're their own entity. They're like the asp trees. They're their own organisms. They don't care if we shop at their spot. They're just in the hood, but they don't care. They do not care. Not one bit. I'm not coming to your shop no more. Okay. Hit the door. No, we don't care. I'm saying no free holies for you. They don't care now. One care. Instantly. They have their own grocery store. They have their own supermarket. They just don't care. They don't care if we shop at that supermarket or not. Yeah, I wish we could. You think they care if blacks go into their supermarket? Not one damn bit. Not one. Their own barbershop, they don't need us to go into their barbershop. The Chinese sell, or the Asians sell hair products to black people. Their money, listen, the Asians don't live nowhere near us. They, look, the Asians don't live near us. The Indian people, they don't live near us. The red dot, they don't live near us. The Asians don't live near us. They live in houses out in the suburbs. But their businesses in the hood. The Hispanics live in the hood. Yeah. The Hispanic people live in the hood. My next door. They live here. Like they don't. But you don't need to. They live here. And because they live here, they're already getting that welfare money. They're getting government money. Yeah, they get government money. They're getting that government money. Don't worry about that. They're getting that white money too. They get all that. The Asians like them too. Except you usually don't see them at too many. Like you don't, when I worked for Honda, you didn't see a lot of Mexican people there. You just did. You saw white people. And the white people hired white people. You ain't see a lot of Mexicans there. You want to start a war? That's how you start one. See, the black people, they control us. They only going to let so many of us work there. It's always going to be majority white. If it's a huge factory position somewhere, listen, blacks don't own no factories, no large-scale factories. If they did, they wouldn't hire a bunch of blacks. If you want to see your company go down the drain, hire a bunch of blacks. And when I say a bunch, I don't mean 5. I mean 400 or 500. And start trying to run 3 shifts. And see what happens to your business. In America. In Africa, different. In America, whole different party. Be a well-oiled machine. Here, fights, all kind of activities that is not becoming. People not coming in, getting mad because they get fired. Craziness happening. Good paying jobs too. $30 an hour starting. See what happened. Productivity. Failing drug tests. Not compliant. Mouthing off to managers. Mad because they didn't get a raise, but they don't want to come in and do the work. Productivity. Now, go out and hire a bunch of Mexicans. You're going to have some of the same problems, fights, some drinking, but your productivity will probably go up. You hire some white people, they going to drink, but they ain't going to fight. You're not going to have a lot of fights. You're just not. But you're going to have some drinking and some people, some opioid issues. But you're just not going to have a lot of fights. You're just not. They're just different in our cultures, man. So you got to mix it up. But out here, white people get mad whenever they see me. They get mad at me because they think I'm taking their job. I'm like, the Asians own Honda. You don't. White people, you don't own Honda. You make American cars that are Japanese, of a Japanese brand. You don't own this. You don't own it. It doesn't say white America. It says America. So they automatically think, oh, American is white Americans. Like, when did that happen? When did America become white America? I was curious. When did that happen all of a sudden? Oh, so only white people fought in all those wars. We've been warring for how many years? 230? And there's only white people fought in those wars. No other nationality fought for America. Nobody else bled for America. Just white people. So this is your country. Get all the way the hell out of here with that. Like, get out of here. So we can't get a job, but we can go and bleed for this country, but we can't work here? That's how they treat us in those factories. Mad because you there. Mad as hell. I done seen it happen to me. I'm looking like one guy mad as hell because I'm there. People don't know how important this job is. And I just told him, I was like, listen, I'm doing my job. Don't yell at me. Like, you want to throw them hands right here and lose your job. You know what I'm saying? I just told him, look, don't yell at me. Just because you got some racial issues. Because I'm good. I'm getting paid as soon as I get home. My check will be in my account when I wake up. You deal with your issues, but don't come over here because I'm going to get in your mouth real quick. Real quick. And I was ready to throw them hands. I really was. He was going to yell at me one time. It was going to be, I'm going to hit you with one hit. I'm not going for that. Because they got issues, man. They think it belongs to them. And I don't, yeah. And I don't understand why white people feel that they are more entitled to work at certain positions than black people do, or any other nationality. I don't get why they feel that they are more deserving, but they are just as qualified as everybody else. Their white skin makes them more qualified and entitled. And it's like, experience, no degree having, you know what I'm saying? Come up here 19, and yet you going to beat out somebody who's been doing this job for 20 years? And put blood, sweat, and tears up in here, but you're more qualified? You better get all the way up out of here and go sit down some damn where. Better go educate yourself some damn where. But that's how they do. Now that I got my degree, I'm quick to tell somebody I got a degree. I'll be like, yeah, so I have a degree. Just start the conversation off like that. Yeah, how you doing? Yeah, okay. So I have a 4-year degree. How you doing? Oh, you didn't ask me that? I know. Anyway, so I have a 4-year degree. And hello? Oh, okay. We was talking about, oh, okay. All right. Anyway, bye. And to some people, it's so what? But to me, it's just like, I accomplished something. Why keep it a secret? Like, especially when I know that you're about to say something that is demeaning. When I know you're about to come out of your mouth sideways with some old, hardly intelligible comment, then I can just, shove it down your face that, you don't even have a foot to stand on. Can you match my credentials? Like, whenever I hear somebody say they have a master's degree, I'm just like, that's dope. Like, I look up to that. I admire that because it's what I want. Doesn't mean that everybody has to have one, but I admire it. I'm just like, I want to be able to say that. You know what I'm saying? That accomplishment is something I want to be able to put on my, my resume. Just, even if I don't use it, just, there you go. Masters. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? I might be, working at Starbucks. Be like, yeah, welcome to Starbucks. I have a master's degree. I'm sorry, what are you having? A frappuccino, vanilla, yeah. A frappe. Okay, I'll get you your frappe. I have a master's degree. Frappe. You know what I'm saying? Just answer the phone. Yeah, I have a master's degree. How you doing today? Who's this? No, that person doesn't live here. All right, I have a master's degree. Bye. Yeah, I'm sorry. Here's the wrong number. Get people in the head. You know what I'm saying? Just, I did it. I accomplished it. You know what I'm saying? I accomplished it. That's how I feel about it. You know what I'm saying? And don't let me fool around and get a doctorate. Oh, heavens to Murgatroyd. You already know what my vanity plates is going to read. PhD. Point blank. PhD. That'll be that. And that's just going to be that. Don't let me get a PhD. I know some people with PhDs. They cool as a cucumber too. But you don't even call them doctor this and that. Because they're just like, yeah, so what? But you get in that field of academia and you better address them the right way. They'll check you right there and then. So David, Dr. Smith, and how can I help you? And how can Outside of them walls, they'd be like, yo, David. Be like, what's up? What up? What up with you, dog? All right. Okay, cool. We'll walk up in them walls and call him David. You be that's Dr. David to you. Anyways, how you doing? When they introduced herself to people, Dr. David Smith, how you doing today? Pleased to meet you. Oh, I'm sorry, I was just buying oranges. But anyways, Dr. David Smith. All right. Just Dr. Smith. I'm just saying, man. I'd love to be called doctor. Plus, it would give me an excuse to be as weird as I really am. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm a nerdy black dude. You know what I'm saying? And I got a little hood in me because that's where I came from. But I love the whole finding out stuff and the what does that do? Looking at earthworms and wondering how this joker is asexual. Like, you don't need another partner to have children. You can just have children. You can just go ahead and just start spitting out kids. And then come to find out that women can actually do the same thing. There have been cases where women have been getting pregnant on their own. Nature. It's the cell. It's the cell itself. Just the eukaryotic. Just the cell just decides this is what needs to happen. Nature decides. The atmosphere decides. You know why you don't see dinosaurs anymore? It isn't because some giant rock came down and hit them and all this other stuff happened. It's the atmosphere. Those large animals can no longer live here because the atmosphere changed. The ozone layer. And so they died off. Nature. It's just that. You know what I'm saying? Or they would still be here. This didn't happen millions of years ago. In the book of Noah, there were dinosaurs. There were dinosaurs in the book of Noah. Some in the Bible, they talk about dinosaurs. What do you think the Leviathan was? The largest animal that we know is a blue whale. It's either a blue whale or a sperm whale. I think it's a blue whale, right? They were talking about the Leviathan. What is the Leviathan? Wasn't a whale. This was some large prehistoric creature. But it was an aquatic creature. They're talking about it in the Bible. The Bible is 2,000 years old. That's recent. That's pretty doggone recent. Well, you know, Mr. Jones, how you doing? Now, there has been I have heard the same thing. And being that I'm not a Paleolithic, super smart guy, I can say this. I can say this. White people, I heard the same thing. White people experimenting. Okay, what have we heard? We've also heard to every one species that dies, there are 3 created. You've heard that before? White people creating a species is nothing new. Nothing. Okay? If we look at the stories of the Bible when they were first created, we know that Adam was not the first person on the planet. We also know that he wasn't a white man. Okay? So you just got a lie just right there. Just a blatant lie. Adam wasn't white. Okay? He wasn't white, and Adam wasn't the first man. There's scientific evidence that show that people were here long before 7,000 years old. Long. That's how old the Bible is, 7,000 years. You mean to tell me the first man walked here that's not even... There were whole dynasties that were here millions of years ago. They can't even explain away some of these dynasties. How these ancient Asian dynasties became. Like, they have no answer to these footprints that are this big in sedimentary rocks that were 2 million years. Nah. Ancient aliens. Listen, I think they're just ancient people. The people before Adam were called Adamites. Adam was a man after God's own heart. That's the story of Adam. He was God's man. He wasn't God. He was a person that God put there to serve God. In other words, the first holy man. That's what Adam was. There have been people here. There have been people running all over this place, doing all kind of heinous things. So to say that, my question is, who mummified big-ass dinosaur and was able to tame it? I'm going to tell you something. Whenever I see stories come out about taming dinosaurs, and whenever I see Jurassic Park, I desire the same thing over and over and over again on every Jurassic Park movie. And you know what that is? Eat everyone. Listen, a velociraptor. Okay, Blue in the last Jurassic Park movie is a velociraptor. There are 3 types of velociraptors, okay? The word velociraptor means fast eater, okay? For one, a velociraptor is not a lizard. It's related to birds. It is a fast eater, okay? And this is a bird, like a flightless bird-like creature that could run 60 miles an hour. If you can run 60 miles an hour, your metabolism is just off the chain. The highest metabolism animal right now is a shrew. It has to eat its body weight constantly. That thing is about this big. It has to constantly eat its body weight because its metabolism is so high. And with that thinking, what do you think that velociraptor, a meat eater, is going to do when it sees you? It ain't going to be like, oh, hold on, Blue. Don't eat the white guy. Eat the black guy. It's going to rip your head off. Period. Dot. Point blank. Those things are voracious eaters. And I just hate it's a pterodactyl without wings. Well, no, because there are different types of birds, of course. A pterodactyl is also a meat eater, of course, you know. But the pterodactyl, the wingspan of look, they've even seen some pterodactyls recently they've seen recent pterodactyls. And for one, these things have a wingspan of a small Cessna. Okay, that's not a small bird. All right. Also, the pterodactyl the teeth are smaller and they're lined in its beak. When you get a velociraptor, you're talking about 3-inch teeth, that are serrated and curved back. So the pterodactyl's teeth aren't like that. They're used to taking fish and swallowing them whole, although they do eat meat. So, there was a bird during our time that was related to the velociraptor. I forgot what it was called, but it stood at 12 feet. It was found in Madagascar. It stood at 12 feet, and it actually had wings, but it had a real large beak, like a parrot. Yeah, like a parrot. But it's called, I think they called it a terror bird. But anyway, but it had these huge claws. Of course, it only had 3 claws like this, and I think it was bipedal, so 2 feet, quadrupedal, 4 feet, quadrupedal, which means a lion is quadrupedal, so it walks on the padding of its feet. That's how a lion walks. But these birds walked like this, but they were 12 feet, tearing things up. They're extinct now. Yeah, you know the one I'm talking about. Yeah. Those things will rip you a new one. They're ridiculous. Rip you a new one. But they said they're extinct now. There's a lot of things in Madagascar they're extinct. But it's a fascinating place because the animals grow there that are just ridiculous. They have worms that grow larger than your forearm, these huge worms that come out of the ground. And they get eaten by these snails that are like this big. These snails just pull these worms out of the ground by 2 and just eat them. It's just archaic and beautiful at the same time. But so there were 3 types of velociraptors. There were 2 different Paleolithic ages, if I'm even saying that right. What about the Megalodon? Well, for one, the Megalodon was a 50-foot shark. All right. It's a 50-foot shark. Right now, the largest great white, I think on record, is like 27 feet. That's huge, 27 to 30 feet. So the Megalodon was able to bite a whale in half with just pretty much one bite. Just come up and bite the largest creature that we know of in half. But you got to understand, when the Megalodon was ruling the oceans, there was also plesiosaurs that were ruling the ocean. There were large creatures, and a plesiosaur, to get a good idea of what that is, the plesiosaur is, now they think that the Loch Ness Monster is a plesiosaur. There were 2 types of plesiosaurs. Most of them were found in Australia. So before Australia was a large landmass, a lot of it was underwater. So there are a lot of bones of both types of plesiosaurs that are in Australia. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? That are in Australia. They find them just out on the ground, and they know at one time this was all up underwater. But a plesiosaur, the smaller one, its head could grow to about 3 feet. Yeah. The larger one, its head can grow to about 6 feet. So, yeah. It can get with a T-Rex in a heartbeat. So, the T-Rex wasn't the largest land animal or carnivorous land animal either. There were dinosaurs that were larger than, they were larger than T-Rex. Yeah, but this thing was a nightmare. I personally think that they're still alive. I think that with the population of humans, the depopulation of other creatures happened because the thing about them is those creatures are not interested in us. They're not. They have no interest in people. They don't look at us as a food source. They don't. They don't look at us. Oh, okay. Let me give you an example. Sharks. When the slaves were taken off of the Ivory Coast, they're like 20 million taken off the Ivory Coast. The slave owners on the good ship Jesus, Santa Pinta and Nina and all those other ships would tie all the slaves up by their ankles. Shackles on my feet, you know the song? And then they would have a bag of rocks, and they would take the bag of rocks that was tied to the chain, that was tied to all the slaves that they wanted to get rid of. They'd throw the bag of rocks over the side of the ship, and the people would all, follow. And of course, they would drown long before they hit the bottom. But this was so frequent that sharks would follow the slave ships and eat the people. You would think that as many people were dumped into the water, that sharks would have a taste for people. But the truth is, sharks don't really go after people. They usually don't. When someone is floundering in the water, the shark thinks it's a fish, goes and tries to bite it and eat it. They don't purposely hunt people, is what I'm saying. So these animals that are, have died out during the Thoracic and Jurassic age, we're hoping they're not alive. It really wouldn't matter, because even if they eat one or two of us, they just don't really go after people. We're just not on their menu, truthfully. It's just, they don't have a taste for us. But are these creatures out there? We only have discovered 5% of the ocean. 77% of this world is covered by the ocean. The Marianas Trench is 5 miles deep. When you start putting those numbers together, if a dinosaur is swimming in the water somewhere, the chances of us running into it is just not very good. The largest mountain range, which is volcanic, runs under the Pacific. It makes our largest land mountain, which is a mile high, pretty much, which is Everest. That is not the largest mountain on the planet. The largest mountains are actually underwater. So there's so many places that these whole civilizations can be without us even knowing they're there. They're like, so what? I'm gonna tell you, the only way what we would start finding out about some of these creatures is what's happening now with the desalinization, basically global warming. So the way it works is, I'm not saying you guys don't know, but desalinization is basically salt water. So what happens is the Gulf Stream and the jet stream, Gulf Stream that runs underwater, jet stream that runs in the air, they run in tandem. Yeah, now this is the way we can discover some of this stuff, but it's going to be not in a good way. Basically, the water is going to come to the land, and it's just not going to be good. Then we're probably going to see an Architeuthis or something like that and be like, okay, that thing is the size of a kraken. Like, there's no, an Architeuthis shouldn't be that big. An Architeuthis, a giant squid, is an Architeuthis. But nonetheless, we've seen some that are, 20, 30 feet, 40 feet long, and it was still growing. So, yeah. Anyways, when you have the desalinization, which is happening now, global warming, you have the polar ice caps that are melting, Alaskan ice caps that are melting. Those are all fresh water. Last year, a chunk the size of New York broke off and spilled into the water and spilled into the ocean. Just think about how much fresh water just got put into salt water. Here's the problem with that. Yeah, it really did happen. Here's the problem with that. When that happens, the water runs like this. It cools, It heats, it cools, it heats. The wind has a direct effect on the cooling and heating. So when that gets knocked off balance, pH balance, when that gets knocked off balance, this is where you have tornadoes. This is where you have hurricanes. This is where you have tsunamis that killed 50,000 people? About 10 years ago? This is when you have these tsunamis that are so large, they're moving at 500 mile an hour. So once they reach landfall, it just, and you can't get out of the way of it. It's just so big and it's just so much water. And that's how, all those people actually died in several countries from one incident, because the heating and cooling is knocked off by the desalinization. You need the salt because it holds the balance of the heating and cooling of the water. If that balance is thrown off by a bunch of fresh water, which if you took salt water right now, if you had a cup like this, put salt water, and then you added fresh water into it, that's desalinization. That's basically what it's doing. You change the structure of the body of water that you have. So, like I said, the jet stream and the Gulf Stream run in tandem. So when this happens and you get, all of these tornadoes that come out of nowhere, F5s and whatnot that come out of nowhere and stabilize, you get an F5 tornado covers a mile. So just drink that in. Its footprint is 1 mile. That's what an F5 will do. When it sits down, still, it covers 1 mile. I don't know what city you guys are in, but if you look at 1 mile from your location and pick any direction, that's how much land it covers. That's not how much it affects. That's just its footprint. This thing spins at over 300 miles an hour in a circle. These things happen because of desalinization, simply because of global warming. This is why greenhouse effects, this is why so many people want to use other energy sources. Oh, the damage is, and look, these things can move at 35 miles an hour or faster. They've been known to track down cars. And a lot of times you have them where they can actually join together. Or you'll have water spouts, which is one that spins over water, and you'll just see this huge water spout. I mean, it's just unreal what the weather does, simply because humans have affected it. In every major city, it is warmer than it is in every country, just by us being there. Our body temperature is 98 degrees. In every major city, it's warmer in that city than it is on the countryside. That's the truth. So the fact that there's 7 billion of us here, we have a global footprint. Sometimes our footprint most of the time our footprint is felt. Like when Seattle, during the Super Bowl, they started yelling, it actually, there was so many people that yelling, it actually registered on a Richter scale. It's like a 3 something on the Richter scale. That was the sound wave that all of those people created. And that's just in one stadium. So we have a footprint. Our use of plastics has gone to a level where there is actually a floating island of garbage out in the ocean. Plastics and whatnot. You can actually go and land on it. All made from us. You know what I'm saying? So the earth is not happy with what we're doing. in the atmosphere and or the ozone layer. The ozone layer has holes in it. So, okay, so the ozone layer protects us from radiation. And there are radiation belts around the Earth. We call them Van Allen belts, but that's only because the person who discovered them name was Van Allen. This is why we've never been to the moon. It's because we can't get past the radiation belts. Now, NASA can say whatever they want, but we've never been to the moon. Anyways, that radiation is constantly around us. It actually, nature is going to fight back. Absolute. Well, it's already doing it. That radiation actually is working against the radiation. I think this is how it is. I think I could be wrong. That is given off by solar flares and or the sun. Now, I've never been to space, so I don't know wholeheartedly what's going on. But from what I've heard, this is what I've gathered. So when you have the radiation around the Earth and you have the deterioration of our atmosphere, our ozone layer, you have radiation that can get in. Yeah. I think a lot of things are not the way it's supposed to be because, or the way they say it is, because there's been questions of more than one sun, actually 3. You know, there's just been, you know, all these things that people are just showing in video, like, why are there 3 suns? You know what I'm saying? Type thing. So that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm not an expert at astrology and all that other stuff. I look at the stars and wonder, but I don't study the stars. You know what I'm saying? I just don't. But I'm fascinated by them. Well, there's videos of it. Look it up. I didn't hear about it either until somebody, you know, said something to me about it like 2 weeks ago. I was like, wait, what? So, yeah. But anyway, so when the ozone layer deteriorates, it has a direct effect on us, has a direct effect on our food. Radiation has an effect on everyone. Yeah, there you go. If you look at some immediate effects as far as radiation, this is why radiation is so dangerous. Okay, so if you look at Chernobyl, when Chernobyl blew up, this was a nuclear plant. Reflections of the dome causes a rainbow. I've never heard of that either, but thank you. So Chernobyl blew up, right? And when Chernobyl blew up, all the humans left. You can go back there, but the radiation is just off the chain. But here's the thing. All the humans left, but the animals there, but there are animals that are living there. Also, the animals changed. Earthworms are 3-4 times their size. This is where the whole movie Godzilla was made up by. But there were some facts in the movie. Chernobyl did cause the animals to change. It caused the insects to change. That is true. Simply because of radiation. This whole Incredible Hulk thing, you think people just made that up? No. The Incredible Hulk is radiation. I know that's fantasy, but they're saying, what they're saying in the whole thing behind the Incredible Hulk is perfectly understood because they've seen it actually happen. They're like, wait a minute. This Numlicus terrestrius is only supposed to be this big, earthworm. This thing is this big. in this area and it's not supposed to happen. Then you pick one up and you dissect it and you find out it's because of because of radiation. You know what I'm saying? So you have animals that are affected by radiation. They do it all the time. You have animals that are affected by radiation, but yet we die from it. You know what I'm saying? Yet they use radiation to try to cure cancer. It basically is trying to burn the cell. But too much radiation and that's it for us. It gives you cancer. You're out of here. So there's all kind of, what the buzz going on and how can a animal live in this atmosphere and we can't. Why can't we go to Chernobyl and just live? Why? Because you'll get affected by radiation and you'll get skin cancer and your skin will start peeling off of you. That's why. But this bird, these deer are not only living there, they're thriving. They're multiplying. And one of the reasons is because there's no humans to hunt them. That's just one reason. Hold on a second, you guys. Hold on, I'll be right back. Yeah. So you have all, those questions going on. Why is it that we can't survive where animals can survive? Yeah. Because of nature. That's it. Nature allowed those animals to live there and then multiply and thrive. And the thing about it is, what's really crazy is the level of radiation there is so lethal to us that you can only be there for a short time. And if you're there any longer than what you're supposed to be, you will have permanent damage to your cellular structure. Like you got like a couple hours and that's it. And you will have some type of malfunction in your body. Your liver will probably start melting, your pancreas or whatever. Your skin is probably start getting blotches and, now you have some kind of carcinoma, some melanoma or, whatever. But these birds, not affected at all. Multiplying. You know what I'm saying? So it's a mystery. It's a mystery to me. But yes, so the dinosaurs, just getting back to that, are affected by the ozone layer. Where's Chernobyl at? Chernobyl is in, see if Siri wants to talk. I think it's in Russia. Hello.
Hello.
It's in Russia. In the Ukraine. I think. Hold on. Where is Chernobyl?
Here's what I found.
I wanted you to talk to us. Tell me about Chernobyl.
Here's some information.
Chernobyl is a city in restriction. Chernobyl is a city in restriction exclusion zone situation in the Ivankiv, Ivankiv region of North Kiev. That is in Russia, in the Ukraine, in Ukraine's border. So yeah, it's Russia, and but that's not the only one. Fukushima, or that's the other one that went up. It's the other nuclear plant. I think it's Fukushima. Yes, Fukushima. Yeah, it's Fukushima. World nuclear accident. That one went up too. Fukushima nuclear disaster, energy accident at Fukushima nuclear power plant in Okayama, Fukushima prefecture, initially primarily by a tsunami following the Tohoku earthquake in March 2011. So there's another direct effect of a tsunami. It blew up because of, I mean, isn't that nature just saying, I had enough? I mean, listen, that's a prime example of nature fighting back. Like, what's nature going to do to me? You cause the desalinization, you cause the global greenhouse, gases that cause global warming. This causes, listen, a butterfly flaps its wings and, a hurricane starts. Okay, so you have global warming, greenhouse gases. The effect is a large iceberg just breaks off in the North Pole, and it's still happening today, by the way. That causes desalinization in the Pacific. The saltwater temperatures change the atmosphere over the ocean, which causes a tsunami and knocks out the very thing that's causing the greenhouse gases. That's what happened. This is not, I didn't just make this up. That's exactly what happened. It's the nuclear power plants that are the problem. Your light and all this, that's the problem. It's the nuclear power plant. This is where we get all our power from. Nuclear power plants. This is why you see people who are using different types of power. I've actually been working on an idea for power myself. But I'm no scientist. I'm just somebody who's theorizing how to make a turbine with, or to make a turbine spin with some different theories that I have. Absolutely. Absolutely. I think too much of anything could be bad for you. Sugar tastes good, but if you eat too much of it, it's bad for you. Salt tastes good, but if you eat too much of it, it's bad for you. If you're fracking and taking up all the oil on the earth, that oil was there for a reason. There's a reason why, all this oil's there, but nonetheless, we use up crude oil like we drink water. As a matter of fact, we use up crude oil more than we drink water. The whole fight recently, recently, one of the president's advisors made a situation, pretty much was trying to make a play for war against Iran. Is it Iran? Ahmadinejad, I think that's Iran. Now, they don't want Iran to have nuclear weapons, which I don't get, but something about the Geneva Convention. If they think they're terrorists, then they don't get nuclear weapons, but we can have nuclear weapons all day because we don't terrorize anyone. We don't invade people and take their stuff. Never did that, George Bush. That's not us. But these people in smaller countries can't fight back with, nuclear weapons. Nonetheless, so Iran is like, no, we're not building nuclear weapons. This is why Ahmadinejad is so mad at us. He's the president over there. But nonetheless, the Strait of Hormuz was blocked. The Strait of Hormuz is a waterway that where a lot of oil actually is goes to and fro. This is where we get a lot of our oil from, the Strait of Hormuz. So what the U.S. military did, and I think the English, is went over there. There was a blockade to stop in front of Strait of Hormuz by the Iranian people. And it was basically to block us from getting oil. What do you think happened? We took our largest warships over there and was about to sign a declaration of war and blow that country to smithereens if it didn't give us our oil. That was just that. This was during the Obama administration. You can read about it. And that was just that. Those people were getting ready to get obliterated. Obliterated. And America wouldn't even blink their eye. It wouldn't have been like nothing. So Ahmadinejad had to relinquish his blockade over the oil so America and other European countries can get their oil. We don't have to get oil from those places, but we do. When in 91, where the first George Bush Sr. sent my friends to war over in Iraq, it was for the oil. They didn't go over there because they had WMDs. There was no proof that they had WMDs, and there was no need for us to be there whatsoever. But soldiers reported that when the soldiers landed, they were told to watch the oil wells. You got to understand, when they knew that we were coming, when they knew that they were gonna get invaded, they start burning the oil. Why? Because they knew that's what America was coming for. At one time, Saddam Hussein was our ally, just like Gaddafi. They just knocked him off too, just like Bin Laden. We created Bin Laden. The Bin Ladens are not a bunch of people living in the mountains of Kabul. The Bin Ladens live in America. Bin Laden's children and grandchildren are architects. They all live right here. They live right here in America. That's why they said, oh, they killed Bin Laden. It's just like, did you? Really? Because where's his body? Oh, we washed his body out in the ocean. Wait, what? So we have no evidence that Bin Laden is dead? But nonetheless, they're filthy rich. But nonetheless, we send all that firepower, go over there and kill Saddam Hussein, kill his children, take his gold, and take his oil. We're the CIA is the ones who created the Bin Ladens. We created him. And then now we want to so-called hunt him down and sign a declaration of war because of 9/11? We want to say that terrorists did 9/11. Now we're going to go over there and murder a bunch of people who had nothing to do with it. Just playing Patriot games. Nothing to do with it. Men, women, and children slaughtered. Yeah. What they did was they got the bin Ladens together and they flew them out of the country. They had nothing to do with it. Bin Laden had nothing to do with 9/11. Not one thing. He was a scapegoat. Why would we protect their family? Why would George Bush just sit there after they were told we were under attack? Why in Pennsylvania was there no airplane actually found? There was no fuselage, nothing. When they blew up the Pentagon, there was no plane. It was all for the oil. Now, do I think that we need that oil? I think that oil plays a definite part in what we do. However, I think the cavemen they always want war. And that's the thing. We've been fighting war for, 238, 39, 40 years. For what? We've been invading countries for what? What? I'm not going to get all Alex Jones on you guys, but it's just like, why are we invading these countries? For the oil, for the resources. We invade Gaddafi, we took the oil. It's what we wanted. That's what we do. We make friends with you until we don't need you anymore. Then we use you as a declaration of war. We say, you did this to us, which is a lie. You didn't. Then we go and we kill you and we say, you're the bad guy. And when you're dead, we all parade like we just stopped this terrible, terrible, terrible person that was hurting America. All a lie. All of it was all a lie. It had nothing to do with us. Now, are there countries that hate us? Absolutely. I'm not saying nobody hates us. I'm saying that there are plenty of countries that hate us. They would love to do us in. But we have a hand in why they hate us, is what I'm saying. So yeah, everybody's fighting over oil, but here's the thing. People are trying to use water as power now, and it's working. Wind has always been, a way to use power. Wind turbines. Some of your electricity actually comes from the wind. So you see those turbines there creating power, which is very ingenious. You have people, of course, using solar power and things along that way. So there are all type of ways to use power, but you still can't turn off these power plants, these nuclear power plants. You can't turn them off. You just can't. Not right now, because we're using this power by the millisecond, like huge amounts of it by the millisecond, and we depend on it. Imagine if all the lights went out right now. This is street lights, house lights, lights at the hospital, just all the lights right now. Everything that's powered by electricity is no longer any good. It would send us right back to the caveman era. Your door cell batteries are only going to last so long. How would you power everything? You would have to find a way to pretty much harness the sun, which is what people are doing when they're, putting up those, shield things to get solar power, and then have a battery save that power so it runs all night until the sun comes back up. And this, of course, works great because these batteries are lasting, of course, longer than a day because, it might have an overcast, especially if you live in, Maine, or you live in London, something like that. There's a constant overcast. So, it's not always so much the sun has to be out beaming. It just helps. So you have that going on, but it's still not enough to run a whole city. It's enough to run a small town. Depopulation. Well, depopulation is not happening. Let me say this on depopulation. Depopulation, okay, population is slowing down. Depopulation is happening in certain countries. And they're scrambling to find out what to do about this. Okay, so you have Japan. Let's look at Japan. Japan has a depopulating problem because the old people are getting old and they will soon expire, but they're not having enough children because people aren't getting married as much. This is happening here too, but we're not so much worried about it here as much as they're worried about it over there. It's a big, 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 big deal over there because of the age of the populace. So if you have 100 people, 60% of them, 60 people, are 60 years old now. Life expectancy of a human, maybe 80. So you figure around 75, between 75 and 85, the majority of those people are going to be dead. Right? Your millennials, the population is 10%. People in between 18 and 28. The millennials are not having children. This is an actual fact. They're not getting married. They're not having large families. They might have 1 kid, 2 kids, but they're not actually getting married in large numbers. And the ones that do get divorced within 5 years or more, it's some crazy statistic like that. They're just not interested. You know why? Finances. It's can I afford to have a child? Now, this is a worldwide problem. But in certain countries, it's causing a depopulation of that country. Now, if you go to some European countries, what they've actually done is said, hey, Europeans, we, the country, will pay you to have children as a couple. So you two are married, we'll pay you to have a child. Usually it's the other way around. When you have a child, it's like 20,000, each child. When you have a child. Now they're turning it around and saying, you know what? We'll pay you just to have a child. Because they're realizing that, one, a lot of European countries are at war. They're still sending soldiers out to die. Most of those soldiers are who? Men. Men's life expectancy is less than women for several reasons. One, you send more men out to war than you send women out to war. Two, men live more violently than women, so they're likely to kill each other because of their lifestyle. Three, because of some of their habits, cirrhosis of the liver because they're drinking. You may have more men who smoke cigarettes, so cancerous, those type of things. So, some of their habits, people who are not living a healthy life. Boom, more men are being knocked up. Boom, more men go to jail. Boom. So man is in jail, he's not procreating. Anything that stops the act of procreation is being considered. It's not always death that's being considered. Bam, you have the gay community is on the rise. Over 1,000 Asian people have sex in one big building. I don't know, at the same time, everyone. What is it? Yeah, they do stuff like that. You know why? They're trying to get babies. They're trying to get babies. They're doing whatever. Okay, you understand, Asians had a real problem with females. They did things to females like the binding women. They would bind their feet just to make their feet really small. They wrap their feet up as a child so their feet would be actually like this, breaking the bone. I don't know what it's called. I'm not a doctor. But the smaller the foot was, the more sexy it was to the man. It's painful as hell. It's unnatural. Unnatural. They also did things like female infanticide. This is where the female is, if a female child is born, they killed it. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? If a female child is born, they killed the child. They wanted males. And then they realized we're sitting on an island full of males. We need women. Now you have a bunch of nerdy men who really don't know how to act around a bunch of females. You got a bunch of females who are uninterested. So what do? You get the state involved. You get the country involved. And when that happens, you see videos like you've seen. You see, we think that those are videos of lust. They're not. It's videos that are a backlash or a knee-jerk reaction because of the culture they had 200 years ago. They're trying to make up for their mistakes. And you can read about all that stuff. I did. It's ridiculous. Why would you kill off the women? But they didn't need them. They wanted men for war. Because in their head, the woman couldn't fight. In their head, the woman couldn't produce when it came to labor. Yeah. The woman couldn't produce when it came to labor. The woman couldn't fight. You got to understand, during those times, you had warring factions that were shogunates. So when you had shogunates, you could have 5 different shogunates in all trying to rule Japan, and that's exactly what happened. And this is the age of the samurai. Now, the samurais, okay, this is why samurais are so tough and revered and scary. Because the samurai was so loyal to the shogun that if the shogun died, the samurais would kill themselves. It's called seppuku. They would put on a ceremonial robe, sit down, take a particular knife and run it through their gut and die. And it was an honor to die like that. How many female shogunates do you think there were? How many female samurais do you think that there were? Not too many. So they had an odd way of looking at the woman. The woman couldn't fight, but nonetheless, a woman is lighter and in a lot of ways quicker than a man. But she can't fight? Are you out of your mind? You gotta be kidding. You need to come to my hood. You wouldn't say that to none of the women I know. Okay, you need to get some sisters up there. You change your mind real quick. But nonetheless, that's why they did that. So they were getting rid of the women. They'd be like, girl, kill it. Put it in the grave. And that's what they did, female infanticide. Because everything was ran by warring factions. But they didn't kill all the women, of course, or there wouldn't have been more men. But they did kill a large number of them. They actually had, the state actually said, you can only have one child. This is one of the reasons why they got rid of these women. More women, more children. Overpopulation. So they said, to stop overpopulation, we'll have less women. True story. Madness. Madness. And now they're hurting. The Europeans, they have other problems because they're still at war. How is the Patriots going to the Super Bowl again? Well, you tell me. You tell me, but that's the way I'm looking at it. But so European nations, their families are dwindling. Now, one of the reasons why European nations' families are dwindling, let's just take America. What's the biggest epidemic right now in America? That is a question. What's the biggest epidemic to hit America right now within the last 5 years? I don't know. Somebody left. I don't know who's here. See if you guys are who's with me and who's not here. So who's still here? So I know who I'm talking to. But you want to talk about the Super Bowl. I'll talk about that in a second. And okay, so that means I either lost Myron Jones or Give Me the Truth. One or the other. All right. Anyways, so I'll make this point and then I'll move on to sports. The largest epidemic right now is opioids. That's the largest epidemic. But the demographic that opioids is affecting more than anyone is white people. But you know who's the largest demographic in white people is? White women. Jamie Lee Curtis even talked about how she was on opioids. So anyways, so if opioids is affecting white women, it's also, yeah. So if opioids is affecting white women, then it's also affecting the birth rate. If it's affecting the birth rate, now you got yourself a real problem. This is why in my state they have issue 1 where if you have, a pretty much, if you obtain a record, basically getting caught for drugs, white woman, then they don't put you in jail for a long time. But when crack was out, it was like go to jail for 30 years for 1 vial of crack. Anyways, sports. I just got a hunch that that's what's going to happen, man. I was talking about it earlier, how I'm looking for Drew Brees to get his act together and finally go to the Super Bowl. And he could. But most likely we would be looking at the Rams because the Rams just played with the Lions the other day. I mean, Todd Gurley had a wide open touchdown and just decided to pretty much lay down after 1. It just, I mean, they're just playing with people right now. You know what I'm saying? The Rams are just playing with people's minds right now. It's not even a competition with the Rams. It just isn't. I can't even believe that they lost 1 game. I thought they were going to do one of the Miami, I thought they were going to do like, the Miami Dolphins. I think they were the only ones who had an undefeated, before Dan Marino. So I just think that they will. I think that the few teams that could actually stop the Patriots are stopping themselves. Kansas City, they just got rid of a key player, Kareem Hunt. but they're still playing dynamite. The Vikings, I think they just took a loss. They were a threat. The Eagles are not a threat. Pittsburgh is not a threat anymore. They just handed themselves 2 losses. So they're 7-4 or 7-5. They just lost to the Chargers. Where every hot team last year is pretty much not doing that good this year, except for the Patriots. So I just think it's easy. I think it's easy pickings for them because I think Kansas City in the second round of the playoffs is going to knock their own self out of the playoffs. And I think that the Rams and the Saints are going to meet up, and that's going to be the division title. Yeah, so that's the division title right there. So you're going to have Kansas City gets knocked off in the third round of the playoffs. The division title is going to go to the Rams. The Rams are going to see the Patriots in the Super Bowl. And it all depends because those wildfires, they might have the Patriots losing. Those wildfires in LA, that's a natural disaster. Even though, our president didn't want to declare it as one, it is. And the Rams might go ahead and take the whole thing. So that's why I believe that the Patriots are going to go to the Super Bowl. I really can't see any other team stepping up. Dolphins aren't going to make it to the playoffs. Raiders aren't going to make it to the playoffs. San Francisco's not going to make it to the playoffs. The Buccaneers are not going to make it to the playoffs. The Bills are not going to make it to the playoffs. And every team that is going to make it to the playoff is going to knock each other off and create one clear shot. And that's already happening right now. If you look at the wins and losses and the possible teams that could go and knock the Patriots off, they're gonna get the Steel. Okay, the division championship we thought was gonna be the Steelers, right? It's not. So we thought the Steelers and we was looking at the Steelers and the Patriots in the division champ. I no longer think that. You're gonna be looking at somebody else in the division champ. Steelers will go to maybe the second round, get knocked off. No Antonio Bell. Game has changed for them. They need that. They needed that Antonio Bell. I think that's his first name, Antonio Bell. Well, Bell. They needed that. They don't have that. They needed those yards. Now they keep losing, their conversions. They're losing on their conversions because they don't have that anymore. They needed that guy. And look, they suffered a few losses that could have easily been wins. They lost to the Broncos. They could have beat the Broncos. They lost to the Chargers. Good team. Could have beat the Chargers. They no longer have that ground game that's a threat. That's what the problem is. So I don't think they're going to beat any I don't think they're going to make it past the second round of the playoffs. So with Pittsburgh going down, to me, there's no threat to Brady. If Bell is out, there's no threat to Brady, except for Kansas City. So here's what I think is going to happen to Kansas City. Here's what I think is going to happen to Kansas City. I think Kansas City is Toronto Raptors. That's who Kansas City is. They are the Toronto Raptors. They can have the best record, but they're wildly unpopular. They got one of the best records right now. You look up who's number one, you'd be looking at the Rams and Kansas City. That's why that game that they played in week, 11 or 12, was one of the best games ever. So when you look at the standings, all right, so I'm going to read this off to you. You're still here. Yeah, you're still here. All right, when we look at the standings, so here's what I'm talking about. You got the American Football Conference. You got the AFC East. New England, number one. New England, 9-3. New England's not going to lose again, I don't think. If they do, it'll be in a big one. The next person to them is Miami, 6-6. Bills, 4-8. New York, Jets, 3-9. You see what I mean? It's just not even there. AFC North, Steelers, 7-4-1. Baltimore Ravens, 7-5. Cincinnati Bengals, 5-7. Cleveland Browns, 4-7. Like, no one's really that close. So your division championship is probably going to be the Ravens and the Patriots. Most likely it won't be the Steelers because they don't have that running game that they used to have. And they need that. Bell was a big part of the game, and they no longer have him. I mean, he was like number 1 or 2 in rushing yards. They don't have that no more. When you go to AFC South, the Texans are 9-3. But who do you know is playing for the Texans? Who's popular on the Texans? What Texan football player is in commercials? Car commercials, food commercials. I tell you right now, New England, Gronkowski, he's doing doggone commercials all the time. You have the Colts are 6-6. Sorry, Andrew. Tennessee Titans, 6-6. Jacksonville Jags, 4-8. Sorry, Fournette. Not going to happen this year. So, okay, let's look at AFC West. Kansas City Chiefs, 10-2. Another team that's unpopular. Just like who was popular last year in basketball? The Raptors. They were number 1 for a minute. What'd they do when it came to the playoffs? Folded to Cleveland. Because who plays for the Raptors? I don't know one person that plays for the Raptors. I know one person plays for them now, Kawhi Leonard. Well, I'm just saying, it's not a big draw. It's not the Toronto Raptors is not a huge money draw. LeBron James in Cleveland, huge money draw. Who do you think is going to win that? AFC West, Kansas City Chiefs 10-2. Los Angeles, the Chargers 9-3. The Broncos 6-6. Oakland 2-10. They're not going to be any good until they move. Yeah. There's not really too many threats. You got the Texans 9-3. The Chiefs 10-2. Got the best record. The Chiefs are the Raptors. They're number one right now. The best record. They will not go to the Super Bowl and win. They won't. They just won't. AFC East. Dallas Cowboys 7-5. Philadelphia 6-6. Washington 6-6. New York Giants 4-8. Can't get rid of that quarterback. I don't know why they keep hanging on him, but Chicago Bears 8-4. Go Chicago. Minnesota 6-5. Not the same thing. Green Bay 4-7. You knocked out the major player, which is Green Bay. Lions 4-8. I mean, the major players were the Vikings and Green Bay. Both of them out. Green Bay will not go to the playoffs. The Vikings might be a wild card. NFC South, New Orleans, 10-2. They would have been number one, except for they just lost. Carolina, 6-6. Tampa Bay, 5-7. Atlanta, 4-8. So you'd be looking at the Saints and Kansas City. Right now, they got the best records. But Kansas City's unpopular. NFC West, Los Angeles Rams. Oh, they have the best record. They're 11-1. I'm sorry. So they're number one. Seattle 7-5. Arizona 3-9. San Francisco 2-10. So the Rams have the best record in the NFL. They're number one. And I just think that they're going to pull it out. All right, bro. Take it easy, man. God loves you, so do I.